everybody, this is Nicole Noasad, and I'm back with another process video. This one is a project I'd actually made for Silhouette this month, and it's using my Cameo, the sketch pens, and some watercolor paints, and I just thought I would really quickly record myself doing the project. So here we go. I sketched with my sketch pen on my Cameo this crisscross design, and I've picked out some colors I want to use within that design, and I have just some watercolor paints here I got from Michael's, and I'm just going to pick up some of the pink, kind of the pinkier colors in my watercolor palette, and using my water pen I'm just going to kind of randomly place them all over. You can kind of see I'm working in a bit of I don't want to have all of one color kind of in one area, so I'm just working kind of, you know, one corner of the page to the other and then down to the bottom. And so I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just going to vary all the different colors, do like a bit of an ombre type thing where there's darker to light. And I go just pretty dark, actually. I wasn't expecting that I would use such a dark watercolor for the page, but you know, I found it needed kind of just like a bit of a darker contrast, so I really like that kind of, it's almost like a burgundy pink that I use. And I'm adding in a little bit of like a fuchsia kind of purpley color here. It kind of worked with the dress my daughter's wearing. And then I got a brainwave that, oh, I'm going to use yellow because that would be smart to mix with pink, Nicole. And it wasn't, so I just covered that up again with another darker crisscross. And I also added in a bit of a neutral kind of color. This one's like almost like a skin tone peachy kind of color. And it's hard to tell in the video, but it does kind of really go with the dress. There's a bunch of flowers on my daughter's dress, and they all kind of just meld together. And there's all different tones. So I just tried to use as many of those as I could, in some lighter and darker colors. And you can kind of see I'm mixing some extra water into one of the colors, the pink there, and just bringing on my craft mat and just sprinkling it around. And then I decided I was going to do the same thing with the black watercolor paint to make some droplets. So I just added quite a bit of water to the actual watercolor paint palette. Is that what it would be called, I guess? Anyway, and then I just kind of tapped my finger on the edge of my water pen just to get the droplets on there. And it doesn't take long for that to dry. And what I used, you can see the cardstock's barely warped at all, actually, from the water. And that's because with that water pen, you don't really need a lot of water, which is fantastic. And I did use the Silhouette self-adhesive cardstock for this project for a couple of reasons. One, because it's super easy to stick it to your page. So, I mean, it's great for Silhouette cuts, but it's great for things like this, too, where I'm going to peel that backing off that white cardstock with the watercolor background. And it actually helps, I find, with the warping. So if you are using a lot of water on your projects, it does help kind of lay that all out because you have adhesive over the whole back. So it's kind of it's honestly a really good find. I would never have thought to buy it before, but I'm on the design team, but it is probably one of my favorite projects they have, which is just such a simple and basic thing most people wouldn't think of, but it's really great. Anyway, here I go. I'm going to peel that off, and I've cut some papers there while I was talking that kind of just go. And this one here is part of the Fresh Cut, that floral one from Basic Gray. And I like that paper. It adds a bit of a different green kind of color, so I decided I wanted to do a few droplets in a bit of like a greeny kind of color. So I really didn't want it dark though, so I just did a few little, just to bring that green kind of up onto the top part of the page. And really the most part of my project is done, like just cutting those quick squares out of the papers there. And while I was talking earlier, you might have seen me cut a journaling card out of one of the papers. That was a Dear Lizzie paper that I had on my stash, and there it is right there, that I'll be yours and you'll be mine. And I'm just going to use that as kind of my title, part of my title, I guess. And I'm actually using some bits of leftover paper from my HIP kits. I think this was in the February kit, and that's that We Are Memory Keepers paper pad there. You can see I'm just using 2 pieces from that, and my photo, and I'm not really going to add a lot. Sorry, there's my head in the way. Because the background is quite busy, I really believe that you shouldn't add a whole lot of other stuff. That's kind of my thing. I like the busy background and less stuff. So I've die cut this title from my Silhouette, and it's on self-adhesive cardstock as well. And I'm just going to add a few little bits of foam squares in behind some of that because I did that with my photo. So part of it was lying flat and part of it was lying kind of like, okay, it needs to touch something. So I'm just going to cut down some foam adhesive and just add that to the little parts that aren't touching my photo. And then it kind of still needed something. You know, I really liked how it was turning out, but I needed something else. So I just grabbed a few embellishments from my stash, and these burlap hearts from Simple Stories are really great. They come in a pack with hearts and stars. So I grabbed one of those, and at this point I'm really just scavenging through my stash to find out kind of what I want to use. I'm going to add some dots around the title, and I'm going to play around with picking some die cuts. And actually, as much as I pull out all these fabulous like Heidi Swap things here, I just can't get anything to work, and I think that's because my background is just really is that busy, like I said. But I do end up using one of these flowers here, and this isn't like an ephemera pack from Heidi Swap. It's just so pretty, all the flowers that are in there. So I'm gonna grab a couple of those because that ties in with my pink background there. And FYI, if you're a manufacturer happening to watch this, I really hate these blister packs. I know I should probably dump them into a Ziploc baggie or something, but there's only so many Ziplocs that you can store, and there's not really a great way to restore some of that stuff. So please, someone come out with something fantastic for that. So I'm just going to tuck some of those die cuts excuse me, in behind my title, and this is where I'm going to kind of play around with more things. And the Amy Tangerine stitch kind of matched my background a little bit. The colors had some similar colors, the pinks and things like that. But I just couldn't. I think I've used all the parts from that die cut pack that I had that would have went with this project, and so I just kind of set that back aside and stapled it up again. There's got to be a better way for that, right? And there's some pretty vellum I have here from Crate Paper. I really thought that the vellum would be a nice touch because the background's busy and the vellum is there, but it's not there. And again, I shoved that back away too. Nothing was really working for me, so I just decided to stick with epoxy dots. I can't kind of get enough of those for a while. Now I have these fun Doodlebug ones, and if you notice, they're actually almost perfect for the colors in the watercolor set that I have. So these Doodlebug ones are great because they have like a variation of color. There's like dark pink to light pink all in one pack, so that's kind of handy. And then I had these Bow Bunny gems actually, which you get some pearls and gems, and it's the same idea where there's like a variation of colors. So that's really smart from a manufacturer's standpoint, is to give you kind of a good variety of one color. And then if you're like me, you get a whole bunch of colors, right? Anyway, here's some close-up shots of my project. There's a bit of the watercoloring. You can see I wasn't really like even with the watercolor, which kind of gives it a fun kind of look. And my title, that's been cut. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you like this video, and please stop by my blog. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.